We are amazing because our passion is limitless and our drive is intense. Therefore, you will not deny our grind. You are now listening to the Faith, Grind, and Inspire podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another great episode of Faith, Grind, Inspire. I am your host, Gene Alert.
And I'm your co-host, Jeffrey Patrick, the co-host with the most and the toast.
And today we have a very special guest, Dr. Merlin Williams.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You see it? Dr. Merlin.
Gets it.
Dr.
It's
Merlin
cool,
Williams is in the house.
Yeah, let me tell you guys. So Dr. Merlin is a client, a friend. Like, this dude is from Harlem. And, well, not from Harlem. You're originally from Harlem, right?
Originally from L.A.
Originally from L.A.
Yeah. LA, big city of dreams.
I met him through my wife, which was interesting, and which was cool. And because he was just walking by with his boy Chris, right?
Chris, yeah.
And he ended up getting business cards from me from ACA, and then came back, and we always been cool and have great conversations. So the other day, like 2 weeks ago, we had a conversation at my office, and I said, come on the podcast.
Right.
Because your story is really dope, and I think it will inspire a lot of people. And so thank you for coming on.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So tell the people who you are, where you from, tell them about Dr. Merlin.
So let me tell you how I came into all this. Back in 2004, before I was going to go visit Egypt and Ethiopia for the first time, I went and saw a guy named Dr. Woodbine. He was having a seminar at his house on kidney health and acupuncture. That was my first experience with it ever. But I experienced the herbs. I didn't experience the acupuncture at that point. And I was training in Aikido at the time, wanted to become better at that martial art. And then I decided to pack up and move to L.A., and study the medicine. And as a result of that, it's changed my life completely. Before it was just, I want to know this. Now I'm like, how many people can I help? It's changed the way I've looked at the community, changed the way I look at myself, my family. My mother was, and this is how it hit me this morning. This morning I was reading about Dr. Dre losing his eyesight because of diabetes.
What?
Yeah. Not Ed Lover, Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Not other Dr. Dre.
Yeah, the other Dr. Dre.
And my mother was a pre-diabetic, and I changed her diet when I was a student, and now her doctor actually told her to stop coming to him because he's like, I feel like I'm taking your money. So, I take it really personal when I'm.
What kind of diet do you need for diabetes?
Well, she was having a lot of starches. She was having a lot of sugars.
Oh, man, my favorite things in the world.
And she thought she was doing well by having something like, let's say, OJ or cranberry juice. But I let her know that you're putting this juice in you that isn't being processed the same way it would be if you eat an orange.
Right.
You're putting this Tropicana in you, and it's causing havoc on you.
They've done processed that with some sugar already.
Right.
The juice is actually worse than the soda in some cases, man.
Yeah.
People don't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I stayed for juice now. I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be happy up here, man.
Yeah. So it's a real mission of mine to help as many people as I can. Did a lot of international travel. Worked on a cruise ship for about a year and a half.
Doing acupuncture?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Wow, that was a trip. It's even as far as, like, I pronounce herbs as herbs.
Right.
When you're dealing with Australians, because it was an Australian-based ship.
Right.
This one lady yelled out at a seminar, "It's pronounced herbs." I was like, okay. All right. So when we finally had an American ship again, when I went on another contract, and I said, I'm so happy this is an American crowd because I can talk the way I want to talk.
I got you.
People will try to test you, too.
I'm actually scared of cruises.
Really? You should be.
I am. I'm scared. For some reason, there's something, when somebody mentioned, I've never been on a cruise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I've been on the Circle Line. You know what I'm saying? But something about a cruise just kind of, like, there's an Annette Fair there for some reason. Like, no.
I love cruises, man.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this
I
is
did a 16-day cruise around the Mediterranean. We went to Egypt. We went to Greece. We went to Cyprus, Rome. I love it. I think it's like dangerous around like, the Caribbean where it's like you always see like floods and hurricanes and stuff. So, but I think
no.
Yeah,
what are you
man.
talking about?
What?
Man?
Yo, bro, like islands get wiped out, So I'm like, I don't want to be in the water.
You guys,
And
You don't want to be there at that time. when
at that
happens.
time, yeah, with summertime,
Right.
I don't know. I just don't. I don't dig cruises. I don't think everybody could ever get me to go on a cruise.
And I was a minority working on the cruise.
Wow.
Not even just a black minority. I'm talking about an American.
An American.
Because most of the people that work on cruise ships are from the Philippines.
That's true.
India.
That's true.
Serbia. South Africa.
Did you make any money on this cruise? I just want to
Yes and no. Yes, because you don't have to pay rent. But no, because it went back home to my daughter.
Oh, okay. All right. But that's okay, though. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's-
But if you live in another country, you're paid in U.S. dollars. So they can stack.
Oh.
Yeah, because the value is like, you know what I mean? In Jamaica, it's like $1 US is like $116 or something like that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. It's so
Like,
crazy.
this,
Maybe I might be wrong. I don't know. Let me check.
One of my friends on the ship, it was sad in one sense because he didn't really know his kids. His son was 17, daughter was like 13, and all he could say was,
It's $138. Sorry. For real.
how's school?
All right.
Other than that, the conversation fell flat, and he's like, okay, let me talk to your mother again. So I'm in his cabin with him, and he's talking. So he spent so much of his life working on the ships, but there's no opportunity at home, so he has to do something, and that's what he chose to do. And he can send a lot of money home by working on the ship, but he is compromising his relationship with his daughter and son.
Yeah.
Which is what I also thought. I don't know if it's too early to talk about the dark side of entrepreneurs, but I thought that
That's one
the
of them.
sacrifice
Yeah, the sacrifice
you make
Yep.
by dedicating yourself.
I don't sacrifice.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't do those. No. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Take it from me.
Agreed.
Yeah, don't sacrifice nothing.
Yeah.
Never. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, we all have different approaches.
Yeah, exactly. So there's my approach. I don't deal with sacrifice. Anything I'm doing it through obedience.
Right.
I'm being obedient to the way that things are supposed to be. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
By the rules that are there, by the laws that are there, by the way that the earth is spinning.
Sure.
I am obedient to that. So I go through life in that fashion. Sometimes you don't always get what you want by being obedient, but there's a thing that is known as divine sovereignty,
Okay.
right? Divine sovereignty is simply that God knows more than you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So when you look, you might not see the thing that's going to affect you. You might not see it, but there's a higher power that sees that. So you have to be obedient to that higher power. Even in the military, you can't question the higher rank. You see what I'm saying? Because the higher rank can see more than what you can see as a foot soldier.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
The generals have way more visibility. I talk about this all the time, The Path of Glory. You got to watch this movie because this movie actually changed my life with Kirk Douglas, because the way I look at it, there is a path of glory. For some people, you're stuck in between the soldiers down there and the high places where the generals are at. And you have to keep that flowing of communication, that connection between them and the general, and make everyone happy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people have that position in life. So obedience.
That's a good point.
So how do you think?
I
the
always
relation-
make good points.
Yeah, he does. How do you think? Do you
Ask
think?
Brianna.
How do you think other people around? What do you think about the other people? Do you think if you're obedient, but what about the other people around you that might not follow that same mindset? How do you deal with them?
Can the devil be redeemed? Can the devil be redeemed? Think about that for a second. Can the devil be redeemed? Is there redemption for the devil? That is no concern of yours. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the way other people are behaving, you have no.
It's not about you. It's not about them. It's about
right.
God,
right.
the individual.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So don't be concerned about redeeming the devil.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, man.
Sorry, I don't know.
so the point that I was bringing up with that was Philippines, India. What you'll have is grandparents that will raise the children because there's no economic opportunities there. So that's what I meant by sacrifice, to where they're working on the ship and the money that they send home.
No, I totally get it.
A life for
I
that.
get
So
it. I get it.
If they were to stay home, so they're sacrificing that face-to-face with their children.
I got you.
So it's like some people can do what you're saying, and other people, because of their predicament, that.
What was your take on the dark side of entrepreneurism?
For me, one of the things is sacrifice, right? Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs go through the same thing. Like, I talk to tons of entrepreneurs, and everybody has the same thing where they fight with balance. Mm-hmm. They fight with how balance is the biggest one.
Sure.
Right? And so when you think about NFL players or NBA players, you're talking about they're traveling for 16 weeks away from their family. That is a sacrifice.
Right.
You can't do anything because you love football. Then that's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. But your family has to stay on the side for a second. You know?
Can't bring them to
and you can't bring them to every game.
They have school.
They have school. They have, and you can't. So that is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing too is the balance. How do you? Yes, you want this, but at the same time, how do you balance everything else that you want in your life? Mm-hmm. You need a relationship with your wife. You need a relationship with your kid. And all these people need some kind of energy. Yeah. And your clients need energy. Everything. Oh, the queen is here. you can leave that there. So.
Wait, I'm sitting here.
Hadiiya's. So, okay, guys, Hadiiya's in the building.
I'm sorry, hold on.
What's going on, Hadiiya?
You know, life of an entrepreneur.
Yes. So you came at the right time because we're talking about the dark side of entrepreneurship, and I'm talking about balance and sacrifice.
Balance.
So
balance is a thing.
Yes. So you know what, Merlin? Ask her.
Okay, ask me.
Right into it.
Yeah. So last night I was just going over the topic in my head about the dark side of entrepreneurism, and this is what you're bringing to us. So let us know your take on it.
What do you? I mean, you gotta ask me a real question. Come on now.
Okay.
Give me a straight talk.
I got
straight
a question.
shoot it.
I would like for you to define dark side of entrepreneurship.
The dark side of entrepreneurship.
Yes, please define it for me.
Okay, well, what I see is the dark side is the things that happen behind the scenes that are often not spoken about. Last week, Gene and I were having a conversation about wanting to bring people who work on our team to bring them up with us, and then ultimately that backfiring. So it's just like different situations like that maybe is a little bit more embarrassing to talk about when you're in a situation where you're on the road to success and you're coming up, and then you have people around you that you have to trust. But then those sometimes the same people that you trusted and you would say, oh, they would never do this. You know, they're on your team. They're team players. They're here for the cause. They're with it. And then those are the same people who turn around and sabotage your business and steal from you. So those are the things that's not often spoken about. This is one example of it.
So, okay, so your definition of the dark side of entrepreneurship has everything to do with the way you interact in negative situation with people you trust.
That's correct.
Is that a fair enough definition, or is there?
I think it's just more so bringing awareness to bringing awareness to and being prepared I would say. So awareness, preparation, understanding that these things will happen. This is a part of entrepreneurship. And a lot of times people glorify entrepreneurship. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, run their own business. But then you have to be a warrior. You have to be a warrior. And so with being a warrior comes the light and comes the darkness.
Mm. I think when people say that they want to be an entrepreneur, first of all, they don't know what it means to be an entrepreneur. They definitely don't want. They want to stop taking orders from other people. They want people to stop governing them. That's what they're really trying to say, because it takes a certain type of person to become an entrepreneur. You know, like you have to have such a level of self-confidence in yourself to where you're not going to ever feel like I need to go ask somebody else to give me a job ever again.
You're an acupuncturist.
Sure.
You bring someone on that's supposed to be, you want to teach them the craft.
Sure.
And you want to teach them how to make herbs, and you want to teach them all this stuff because they said, oh, I have this passion to do this. I want to help people just like you.
Right.
So now you're like, okay, cool. They come in, and as soon as you start teaching them the herbs, you didn't even teach them everything you know. You just taught them a little bit. So it's a little bit more than what they knew, and then now all of a sudden, behind your back, they going through your phone and they texting your client saying, hey, you know what? I know Dr. Merlin is charging you $35, but I'll do it for $30.
Oh, yeah, but that's been going on since the beginning of time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What I think it is.
That's the dark side. That's the dark side. That's what I'm talking about.
This is not something that's new. That's why I said awareness. Since we're having this conversation, I believe that it's important to pay attention. Normally, we see the signs already happening, but we're not paying attention because we're so busy on the come up. We're so busy trying to do all the things that it takes as the one-man show. Because entrepreneurship most of the time is a one-man show.
Or one-woman show.
Or one-woman show, right? And then you bring other people on to support the process so that you could expand, so you can grow and eventually scale. So you have to bring more people on the team. But the things that's happening doesn't come out of nowhere. It never did come. It didn't just happen all of a sudden and you just found this out, or you found this out through a client. It was already happening and you already saw the signs, but you didn't, and you already felt it, but you didn't have the time to deal with it because you're doing other things, or you were in denial about it because you want to hope that it's not true. Because now the person knows your flow. They know how to get things done. They've trained with you long enough. You don't want to break the cycle and now have to find a new person and start all over again. So you just be like, all right, okay, I'm going to let that slide. I'm going to let this. Next thing you know, they took over your whole company or attempted to. So we have to pay attention to what we feel, what we know, what we see, and address it right away. Pay attention. Keep family members around too. Let them watch out. Have people come and check in. You know, you have to check in. We have to check in. We have to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And sometimes that may mean leaving some money on the table sometimes to pay more attention. A lot of times we're in the flow, we're in the rhythm, and we're just going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And then because we don't want to leave anything on the table. We want to capture as much as we can capture. You know, we want to take the net and get as much fish we could get in that net.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to leave some in the water so you can pay attention to what's there and to build a more solid foundation. Because I know from my experiences, from being whether I was in the healing arts or whether I was in the hair business, I have seen this trend. It doesn't matter what type of work and what type of field you're in, it is going to happen. So you have to pay attention. And then also just find out what is the purpose of the person who's coming on with you from the beginning. You really have to take time in that interview process, and then also knowing what you are looking for from them and being clear about it, not being desperate because you need help. I think a lot of times entrepreneurs, we get into this desperate mode, and now we grab whoever's going to come on just because we're desperate for the help. We're growing, things are happening fast, we're frustrated, we're exhausted. All right, let me just take them. So we have to take time. We have to take more time.
Yes.
You know. Yeah.
Gary V says, hire slow, fire fast.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that.
And I had
absolutely
the opposite
agree
way.
with that.
I used to hire fast and fire slow. I've done
the same thing. Why? Because now you want to get all emotional about it. There's nothing emotional. You want to get connected.
You're like, yo, man, this guy has family. I don't want to.
No. Separate it. You got to be tough. The dark side is that now you have to.
I learned that from my wife. My wife was like, yo, cut it. The guillotine. She called it the guillotine.
You know what? Don't get yourself caught up in emotions from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, separate. Have boundaries. Yeah. This is business. Yeah. Don't bring them into your house. Don't bring them into your don't hang out. As much as you may want, you might get this connection. You spend so much time together. You check on them, make sure everybody's good. But keep, don't text me after a certain hour. I don't want to get caught up into your problems.
Yeah.
You have to be that way. And it's hard because we're artists and we have feelings and we're creatives and, we get emotional with our work. A lot of times entrepreneurs, but we have to create that balance that you're talking about, and balance comes with boundaries. Very important. I've been guilty of this, of bringing people on thinking that they were my friends, or thinking that they were my equal. I'm sorry, but they're not, because you put in the work, you put in the many years, and they may come on and support your process and be there to help you when things get rough, but they're still not your equal, and we have to really understand that. And it's harsh, and people may not like the way it sounds, or who do you think you are? Well, who do I know I am? I've done the work. Okay, so you have to know who you are and remember who you are at all times. They're not on your level. It's just not. Otherwise, they would be in your position.
I love it.
What would you say, as far as delegating responsibilities to people, how do you feel your skill is with that? Do you feel that when you do something well yourself, as you're the owner of your company, do you feel that you take on the responsibility for things that you feel that you do the best, or do you feel that you're able to delegate that to someone else and trust that they can do as great a job as you can?
That's all.
Everybody here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I spoke a lot. You want to talk about that?
No.
Look, delegation was probably one of the hardest things. It took me 10, maybe 11 years to finally let go. But it was because I actually had a son that forced me to let go. Because at that point, it was just like, I had no choice, right? Because my main priority wasn't the business anymore. It was him, And so I had no choice to let go, and I had to trust,
right?
And the hardest thing is sometimes when you delegate to someone and they mess up, it's costing you more money.
Absolutely.
So you have to redo it, or you have to, and you're like, why didn't you just say this? Or, and if it's, say, real estate, you delegate something to a person for real estate and you lost the deal because of it. You're talking about, you lost not $50, you're talking about thousands of dollars,
right?
So sometimes it's just like, it's hard to stomach that you're leaving, and I think that's another reason I became an entrepreneur. I didn't want my career, my lifestyle, my everything, my legacy to be dependent on someone else. Right. A lot of people in 2008, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their pensions and their retirement because they trusted the old model of, I work for a company for 30 years, and when I finish, these people are going to pay me for the rest of my life.
That is so outdated.
No. The recession hit.
Yeah.
People lost, Lehman Brothers closed. All these people lost everything, and that's when everyone became consultants. Everybody they went into other fields. And I remember reading something, and in New York State, that was they had the largest increase of LLCs started in 2008. Why? Because people finally got it. They said, wait, and that's why millennials now, they stay at jobs for 2 years and they leave.
Yeah.
You can't keep someone for 10 years, 30 years. It's not happening because no one wants that, no one wants that, And so for me, it's just always been that. I just never, you work for a company and all of a sudden one day your boss had a bad day last night. He or she had an argument with their spouse. Next thing you know, you didn't smile. You know what? I got to see you in my office. And then they do a review and you know what? We got to let go.
Right.
Let go for what? I didn't do anything.
Right.
I don't want that, man. I just don't want that. I just want to be able, if I make $1, I want to be able to control how I made that dollar with integrity, and with everything I do. That's how I do it. And if it's my way,
right?
As long as it's right, you guys are my clients. I treat you guys good.
Yeah.
For years, Hadiiya's been a client for me since 2012. Yeah. And so when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, but there's nobody else. You see what I'm saying? I just, that fear for me is what scares me.
Yeah.
It scares me.
The reason why I am an entrepreneur is for that specific reason of delegating.
Delegate.
I encourage people to to delegate for the simple reason that it empowers people. It empowers people to act on your behalf, and if you have laid the proper foundation, then there you have no reason to if and but about it, because you've already laid the foundation of what you expect and how you're supposed to go about delegating for me. See what I'm saying? So I am actually an entrepreneur because I wish to help as many people as I possibly can. That is the one reason why I do what I do. And I think that delegating is an important part of being an entrepreneur, because then I empower those who are associated with me. And if you are associated with me in any way, shape, or form, you will have power. You understand?
Yeah.
Yes, and so for me, when I think about delegating, that comes with training. That comes with training. I cannot delegate if I have not trained. And so the person that I'm delegating to has to be qualified in order for you to take my position.
That's part of the training.
That's
training,
yes,
part
the
of
training.
foundation.
It's the foundation. Or like for now, I have someone who, and this took me a few years, a good amount of years to let go. In my hair company, I have someone who runs pretty much the whole entire company. And why? Because I wanted to move on to doing other things, but I created this great foundation. I wasn't willing to just give up the company because I've created this work, this foundational work. When I get frustrated, I'm like, forget it, let it go. But then you have to come back. You have to talk to other entrepreneurs, and come back to your senses. But she came in with a high level skill set already, so she was not an assistant. She didn't come from that level. She was already doing clients. She was already working, freelancer. And so I just showed her my way. It took a couple of challenges, a few years. I fired her, then I tried to get other people, and then they just wasn't good. I didn't want to go through the process, so I got her back after I fired her. Yeah. And now I was able to move to LA, start a whole nother company. And while she kept that business going, it's now to the point where she just runs it so well, so I'm really able to fully now teach what I want to teach now rather than work the day to day. I chose not to do the day to day anymore. Now I'm, and then I know it's levels to empowering also, because it's going to come to the point where they don't want to only work for you. After you get so good, they're not going to just want to work for your company. So I already understand that in advance. So I'm encouraging her to start her own company. Just give me my commission. Just give me my, So, it's all types of ways now, because I know that at a certain point, that's when the mind starts thinking about taking and stealing and things. So I already know, so we're going to avoid that. Let me empower you. I don't want to be a crutch for you either.
Exactly.
So I know that you really want to run. You do this so well. That means you can do this on your own. Allow me to send you some of my clients and just let's work out this percentage. Yeah. Let me now develop
versus
the other.
You try to take.
Let me give. Let me empower you and free you up to let you, because you've already been doing it, but you're holding on to me too. Yeah. So let me not hold you back. Go ahead now. And so now I can work on another project. And I still get money from this over here. See, entrepreneurship to me is like a sport. I enjoy the game of it. Yeah. I enjoy it because it's exciting. It's exciting because it's always something new. It's always some new idea that you can create. And to know that you can use this beautiful mind of yours and create something and actually get paid for it, there's nothing more fulfilling than that. That's why I'm an entrepreneur, because I get to be a creator. I get to allow the creator to move through me as me, of my life, of my reality. I get to create with my hands and see it. It's like,
where are you from?
I'm from the earth, the moon, the stars, all sources of energy. I'm from the sun, honey.
Yeah, no, I figured you'd have an answer like that.
Of course,
yeah,
of course.
You would.
Yes. So, but it's a beautiful thing. We want to look at it as a deeper, I look at entrepreneurship as more in a spiritual aspect of it. Jean last week named me the spiritual entrepreneur. And I was like, wow, how perfect is that? Because people put spirituality in one category, business, entrepreneurship, and another being a professional. No, it's all the same, because it's working with mindfulness. the game of the mind, controlling the mind, working with the mind and seeing what could happen, working with moving energy, seeing what if you do this, what happens? If you do that, what happens? Oh, this works. Okay, let's do more of this. It's fun. It's actually fun. Otherwise, you'll be doing the same thing every single day, 9 to 5, check in, check out, bored, let me get this work done. Well, I'm sorry, no disrespect to the 9 to 5ers, but that's just not my path. You know, I like to see things moving and happening, shaping. I want to see some challenges come about and see how I can get through it.
Solve problems.
The
every
9
day.
to 5ers are needed.
No, they need it.
Well, I need them too.
Yeah, we all need them. We
So
all
no
need the 9 to
disrespect to the
5ers.
9 to 5. I'm just saying for me, that day to day, you know, as a Sagittarius woman, no, we need the freedom. And so entrepreneurship, why do I do it? Because it gives me freedom. It gives me freedom.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Ultimately, freedom.
Gotcha.
I'm mulling it over in my head as I'm hearing you guys talk. When both of you mentioned about people stealing, you know, and honestly, I've never even thought about that. That's never crossed my mind, even though people have taken from me.
I never had
But
that experience.
I don't care. I don't care because you can't take from me. All you can do is try to make a Xerox copy of it, but it's not going to be me.
It's not going to be me. Yeah.
And even if you go to my same patient and try to give exactly what I did, it's not going to be the same. They're coming from a different place with a different intention, and the application of it is going to be completely different. And I know this is going to always differ among different skill sets, different professions. But in my profession, you can't replace me. So it'll never bother me if someone came and just learned my routine and tried to do it on somebody else. It's still going to be a paled
I'm not thinking.
and I'm not saying that from an ego standpoint. I'm just saying you can't replace me.
Yeah, you can't replace the skill.
No
and
one can
talent.
But that's big. That's a big.
true.
I'm so happy that you
That's
brought that
true.
point up about stealing, because when we talk about stealing comes in so many forms. There's many forms of stealing. So there's monetary. This is what Gene and I spoke about. You know, so you do have to care at a certain level. You do have to care because Gene was talking about. You know, he started noticing his numbers going down. What happened? Where was the money going? Someone's working in your business, swiping a card, and attaches a different account that has nothing to do with their own account to your inside of your office,
Inside of your business. Using your company name.
Okay.
name.
That's different.
So that's a different. So when we talk about that's when we're talking about stealing. We're talking about that. Now, trying to copy. I mean, someone put that on my page the other day on Instagram, and I had to respond to her. Someone said to me, you know, there's someone else. It's unfortunate that there's someone who's trying to steal your whole movement. And I'm like, and they was like, but they do it for the money, and you do it for the love. And I said, well, they could never steal my movement. You know, how could they ever take anything from me? What's for me is for me. All I could do is focus on what I'm doing, how I'm growing, what I'm creating. Now, if you are trying to copy something that I've created, I'm like, well, you know, I've created this for me. Now, if you want to create something, you create it for you. If you have an audience that enjoy what you're offering, please do it. Please do it, because I'm going to do me. So I think the mindset of people is all this, you stole this and you stole that. First of all, there's nothing new under the sun. Okay, these creative ideas, we all take ideas from each other. Let's keep that real. Let's keep that 100%. Okay, you didn't just come up with ideas out of
somewhere.
We got it somewhere. Everyone is inspired by someone
Inspired,
else.
yes. Faith, God,
Okay?
inspire.
Okay, there we go. So what I want to offer to people who's worried about someone taking something. First of all, no one can take something that's already yours, like you already said. No one can take anything from you. If it belongs to you, it's for you. Keep focusing on the things that you need to do to grow you, to grow your business, to expand yourself. So the minute you start thinking about what someone else is taking from you, that is a big distraction. Now, what are you doing? You're taking away from yourself.
Yes.
The minute you start thinking about what someone's taking from you, you are stealing from yourself.
So what's the purpose of the dark side of entrepreneurship?
This is what we're talking about.
No, what's the purpose? I just asked the
The
question.
purpose is called awareness. It's called awareness, bringing these issues that happen to light. And we're discussing on what we need to actually start discussing is how to resolve these things. I spoke about it just a little while ago, you know, paying attention, checking in more, you know, different things that you can do, because these issues will come about.
You can't avoid them.
Yep.
No, they're unavoidable.
So, couple things. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
This conversation was real. I love it. We gotta have a part 2.
Okay.
Yeah, and Hadiiya, hopefully, like, we're gonna do this and we're gonna make sure. everything's smooth, so we have a full hour because I don't want to cut this conversation short.
Yeah.
I have to ask you.
That's the balance that I was talking about.
Yeah, that's the balance.
You know, I was so sick last night, and I didn't want to cancel this.
And I
so I had to
appreciate you.
push myself, seriously, because I could have texted you last night like, no, I'm not feeling well. I felt sickness coming over me, and I said, wow, what do I need to do to show up? So what I had to make a decision. I might be a little late, but I'm going to show up.
Exactly.
But I got to take care of myself because I have so many responsibilities to handle. So, you know, it's kind of like always this balancing act. You know, I'm like, I know you're gonna be upset. I'm gonna be a little late, but I'm gonna show up.
Yeah, no,
but I gotta care for myself first because if I don't care for my body, then I can't really do anything else.
Health is first.
Health is first.
We ask all our guests
Yes.
this one question.
Okay.
Out of the 3 words, faith, grind, inspire, what inspires you? I mean, which one not inspires you? Which one resonates with you and why?
Faith.
Okay.
And I told you this the other day. I don't share with a lot of people because people get all weird sometimes. But I told you my marketing plan is faith.
Yes, you did. You did.
Yeah, like when people say, how do you market? You know, do you do this, do that? I mean, of course, I have stuff like a Yelp page or a Google page, but I just, when I need more patience, I pray. And they literally call. So faith has, and this is why you'll always hear me talk about The Alchemist, because there's certain things in that book that I literally said before I ever read the book. And then I asked my father, I'm like, did you tell me this? He was like, no, I never read the book. So I gave it to him for a Christmas gift one time. But the thing is that faith is what moves me the most out of everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And guys, last thing. So today is November 6th. And that means my birthday is on Sunday. So happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday.
Scorpio season. Woo. So I can't wait. I'm going to turn up.
Passionate Scorpio.
Yes, passionate Scorpio. So and those are your new business cards, Hadiiya. So I hope you love them.
Yes, I do.
So anyway, so thank you guys for tuning in to another great episode of Faith, Grind, Inspire.
Yeah.
There was a lot of passion. I love it. This is what I love
passion.
talking about. Anyway, so thank you to Tim, Brianna, Jeff, Hadiiya, Merlin, Dr. Williams for coming on to the show. And we appreciate you guys. Continue to have faith, grind, and keep going no matter what.
Stay out of trouble.